Alright, bass heads, it's your boy the OG Soda Pop Kid coming to you direct, doing a video outside of the unit this time. Alright, it's nice out and I've been driving around getting some bass. It was raining all yesterday and yada yada yada. Alright, and I'm gonna chop it up with y'all a little bit on this is a subject. Just keep this in mind when I say. Working out the bugs. That's the subject. Working out the bugs. I'm working out the bugs. Okay. And all the changing equipment I've been doing since I've had this car. Like I told you, I had this car since 1998. When it looked like a regular, ordinary Oldsmobile, Delta 88. Okay. When it looked like an ordinary Delta 88, it had the padded roof. It had the half a padded roof here. Stopped about right there, and it was champagne colored with the 75 series tires on it. Yada yada yada, and it didn't have no wing, none of that, no graphics. You know, it had regular bumpers and all of that. Remember, I did a lot of modifications on this vehicle. All right, so with that being said, every sound system that I have put in this car, okay, always had to work the bugs out. Always had to work out the bugs. Let me lock this door. Always had to work the bugs out. Y'all, you know what I mean? Like, set the amps right, make sure everything was sounding good. The radio, the wires was like, you know, routed right, and everything was working good, and everything was tucked away, and you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. I could turn it up, enter competitions, burp it without hurting anything. Well, all of this stuff basically is still new because I got, you know, 8 of these amplifiers last in 2024. Pretty much 2024 of like maybe like in July or August is when I got 8 of these Stetson Bravo Bass Flex Impedance AKs here. Okay, when I was introduced to them or told about them, and I went on and got them. I tried the Slaps amps before these, okay, and I ran 8 of them on 8 of the American Bass X-Max Monsters, and I ended up blowing a couple of them at 0.6 of an ohm, 0.6, 0.7 of an ohm. I blew a couple of them. My box rise was 0.9 box rise. You know what I mean? And I heard a couple of the amps, and the amps was set clean and all of that. They were set clean and so on and so forth, man. So, and once that happened, I was afraid to use them again. So they got replaced, and then I sold them all. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. All right, and then I decided to go with the Resilient Sounds Platinum V2s when I had a couple guys say, why don't you try the Resilient Sounds? And Hogan Yusko was one of them because he was already running the V1s. I think he still is running the V1s. And he was pretty much doing work with them. You know what I mean? He was like, man, why don't you, you know, try out the Stetsons? And he pushed me in the direction of Robbie Vasic. Okay, pushed me in his direction, and I called him up, got acquainted, and told him I wanted to try his subs out. But we're still on the subject of, you know what I mean, working out the bugs. So technically, I'm working out the bugs of this system. You know what I mean, seeing what the speakers like. I've got my highest score with them in them Stetson amps. Just to say, I've got my highest score twice. Okay, a 162.96. And then the next competition I did a 163.97. Okay. 163.79, almost a dB within 2 shows. Okay, and each time I did it, I'd heard an amplifier. So I can look at that as well, I was told pretty much that those amplifiers, you know, running them at 16 volts and 15.9s and all, that's where I was running them at, 15.9 to 16 volts daily. Okay, and I burped them at that. You know what I mean? On my last 2 competitions, you know, my mind wasn't on to clamp them. Well, I did end up clamping them, but I forgot. I never did ask how many watts I technically got out of them. You know what I mean? I just went right over my head. All right, especially when I did the 163.79. All right, so the competition after that, you know what I mean? I didn't get those scores after that because I had the last competition that I entered when I got that 163 is one of the amps wanting to protect. So long story short, I ended up one of the subs was acting up. They were reading right once they were pulled out of the box. They were reading right. When it was in the box, it was reading like 0.1, 0.3. Pull them out, they're reading 1.1 to 1 ohm per side. Okay, something technically was a matter with the sub because we swapped out the sub and haven't had the problem since, even after swapping out the amps 2 times. Those amps twice on that one side. Okay, I haven't had that problem since. I've been street beating and pounding away. You know, giving out demos after demos after demo after demo after demo. I think I've gave out more demos in the last month than I have in the last like 2 or 3 years. All jokes aside, it's like everybody just looking at this now is curious about it and they want to get in it. So I throw them in it and boom, you know, let them hear it and boom. So that's why y'all are getting a whole lot of demos lately, and I'm posting them up on Facebook and YouTube lately. As a matter of fact, at our last show at Bass Blast 3, just this past Sunday, I actually sat in a couple cars myself because it was raining and I didn't take my car because I got leaks in the trunk and stuff like that, and my windshield wipers wasn't working. And speaking of the windshield wipers, y'all, I was just getting ready to get a new wiper and put toggle switches on them and actually get an aftermarket sprayer. You know what I mean? I was going to get an aftermarket sprayer and relocate it and put toggle switches on it and all this and all that and remove it from that location. And then just to find out that the motor, this thing never was technically really broke. What actually happened is the arm right here, there's a ball under there. I guess when I burped, the arm came off of the ball. And it was working, but the wipers wasn't able to move because it came. And I just found out I was just down at Advance talking to one of the guys about us putting toggle switches on them. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't have the delay anymore, and I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? And then he saw that the arm was off. He popped it back on, and guess what? They started working. So I was like, I drove all the way to Ohio, and technically the motor was actually working the whole damn time. It just, the arm just came off. Unbelievable. But you know what? I might go and do it that other way anyway. Put a separate reservoir on it just for the sprayers and this, that, and the other, man. So, you know, I can just hit the toggle switch and turn them on and not rely on that switch that's on the steering wheel, man. Because I think something may be wrong with it from the vibration is what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Or just keep this motor on and run it to a toggle. Keep that on and run it to a toggle and just get the aftermarket sprayer. You know what I mean? That's what I might do because I think something may be wrong with that technically with that arm that's on that steering column, man. But like I said, I'm working out the bugs. With the system. So I decided to enter a few competitions, the next one, and just do park and pound and dueling demos instead of blasting at it. Or if I blast at it, don't hit it as hard. But I won't get the numbers, my numbers either. You know what I mean? But don't blast it as hard because I'm trying to work out the bugs. Every time I put a new system in, or a new alternator, or a new fan, or a new something in here, I'm working out the bugs. The bugs is working out with the belt. The bugs is working out with the serpentine belt setup. I'm working out bugs right now, people. Because the car's been running pretty good, firing right up, driving wherever I want to drive it, running smooth. You know what I mean? Idling right, doing this and doing that right. So I'm just working out the bugs right now. So I'm going to take this somewhere else. I mentioned to you guys that I wanted to order SPL lab meter and order a meter and get a laptop and all of that so I can meter my car, because I did have an SSA meter, the little meter, you know what I mean, that you connect to the phone. Okay, and this is a problem I ran into, man. I ordered a laptop. Bam. All right. My man Andy Miguel put me in contact with one of the guys that works for SPL Labs. Remember, that meter's made in Russia. Okay? And one of the guys hooked up with that company to work out some of the bugs that they had with that meter, and he told me this himself. Okay, and his name is Adam, all right? And, you know, when you get guys that do that, I look at these guys as computer geeks and stuff like that, and I'm not a computer geek, per se. You know what I mean? Some of these guys know how to work computers and know how to fix computers and know how to go around stuff and so on and so forth. So if I have a problem, I might call upon one of these guys to help. You know, like Andy, or there's this guy I know that live up the street from me named Mike that moved here from Wisconsin a couple of years ago, around COVID. All right, and his mother lived up the street, and he moved out here to help his mother out. Okay, and he's a little computer geek himself. And he even works at Sheets like Andy. You know what I mean? But anyway, I talked to this Adam guy about ordering the meter straight through him. Since he worked out the bugs for this company, they pay him a certain amount, you know, for every unit that he sells. So I went through this guy, seemed like a cool dude. He was living in Idaho at the time. He recently just moved back to California. But once I got that unit, we could not pair that unit to that laptop. Now, it was an HP laptop. Everything he told me to do, I did. And it would not pair to that computer. So I started to blame it on the computer. Listen to what I'm saying. And so then I called upon Andy. And Andy was going through it with me over the phone. Do this, do that. Hit this, hit that. It still wouldn't pair. My boy Mike I was talking about, one day he came past the house because I left my window down a little bit on my Equinox and it started raining. He was walking by from work, he saw it, he run the doorbell, he said, hey, your window's down. I was like, oh, hey, wait a minute, you know how to mess with computers, come here. Pulled him in the kitchen. I was like, hey man, pair this device. I can't pair this device in my computer. He was going through everything and he was quick about it too, so he really knew what he was doing. He could not pair it. He was trying 3 different ways to pair it. It would not pair. It would download but wouldn't show up. So he's like, I don't know what's going on. It won't pair. It won't pair. So then I called this Adam guy back up and I'm like, yo man, even my boy couldn't get it to pair, and he is a computer geek. Okay? He couldn't get it to pair at all. So he tries to get me to do it again. Then he finds out I have a desktop. He's like, you have a desktop? I was like, yeah. He's like, for kicks and giggles, let's just see if it'll pair to the desktop to make sure that it's not the device. It's one or the other. Either it's the computer or it's the device. It wouldn't pair to the desktop, no matter what. I was like, yo, man, it's looking like something's the matter with this doggone device, bro. Because it won't come. It's like, what chances do it not pair to 2 computers, different computers? I was like, I'm going to send this back, and I'm sending back that laptop. Ain't no need of me having a laptop now. I can't have it for what I wanted it for. I was like, so, with that being said, I'm going to try to get the wireless one for my phone. I was like, that's different. That shouldn't, have the troubles we're having. So, I send it back and replace it for the wireless one. Okay, now at the same token, this dude's trying to get me to buy the clamp meter, the power meter, and all this other stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want to get none of that until I find out this thing is going to work, man. So I start looking at it like he's trying to sell me stuff. He's about making money. What about getting this device to work on my computer? Because spending $400 and something now, just the little box itself, the little wireless box itself, is still $400 and something all by itself. Okay, now, my thing is, I'm spending my hard-earned money to get a device to be able to connect it to, my question is, that company that sells these, how come they don't have simple instructions on how to hook it up? Simple instructions. It's all of these mind-boggling, you got to do this, do that, cut off this, cut off that, turn off this and turn off that to get it to work. And it started really to confuse me, and it started to piss me off. All right, because I spent my money on this device and I wanted to connect to do what I wanted to do, period. So now I get the wireless one, and we're spending like about 40 minutes trying to get it to pair to my phone. It wouldn't pair to the phone. They don't use Bluetooth on it anymore because they was having complications with Bluetooth. So it was just Wi-Fi, or you can connect it without Wi-Fi. Okay, so he's like, well, and then they ask for a password, but they don't give you a password. They want you to put in the password, but don't give you a password. So I'm getting told, well, you don't need a password. We can bypass the password. Okay, do this. Didn't work. Do that. Didn't work. Do this. Didn't work. Do that. Didn't work. Turn your Wi-Fi off. I did that. Still didn't work. So it wasn't working. We couldn't get it to pair. And he's like, did you turn off the Wi-Fi? Yeah, I turned it off. Well, you should be able to do it without the Wi-Fi. I turned it off. What do I do next? You're the computer genius. You're the computer genius. You sell these. Or what are you selling them for? Just to get paid? You sell these. You should know everything about them. Couldn't get him to pair. Had to hang up with him to turn the Wi-Fi off. I was on the phone with him. I got to hang up with you to turn off the Wi-Fi. Turn off the Wi-Fi, I can't talk to him. All right, plug back into Wi-Fi, able to talk to him. I was like, yo, how come they don't give you, this is the thing, how come they don't give you a password for their device? Like the SSA meter gave you like 1111111, 2222222 for you to use. They don't give you any of that. Now, I'm not the only one that went through this, okay? And so when I call him back up, man, and we're going through it, he started to get frustrated. I was like, I'm the one that spent my hard-earned money. What are you getting frustrated for? I spent my hard-earned money. I need this to work. And you're getting frustrated. I can simply just send it back and just get my damn money back and call it a day and just go ahead and spend the money on a term letter. And they are expensive. Very expensive. These are a lot cheaper. Those SPL labs are quite a bit cheaper. You know what I mean? But the term labs are high. I was like, I bet you it's easy to connect one of them, though. I bet you they got simple instructions. So we hang up, and I go to call him back. Once I figured out how to do it, and I'm gonna tell you how I figured out how to do it. I went on YouTube, and I typed in pairing an SPL lab wireless meter with an Android phone. And now they showed you some guys that was doing it, and this one dude I was friends with, he lived in California, Latrell Marquise, if I'm saying his name right. He was on Team Soundstream over there in California near Long Beach. There he is, pairing the clamp and power meter for that meter to his Android. And the same way that you pair the power meter is the way that you pair it to the phone. And there, when it asked for a password, I was like, this is going to get interesting. What is he going to do? He goes in and he said, well, I had to mess around with it for a minute because they don't give you no instructions. Yep. This was 2 years ago he did this, and they don't give you a password. Yep. He's like, but I was messing around with it, and I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it started working. I was like, oh, so I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it came on. And I'm like, wow. All this time it wanted a password. There wasn't no going around the password. And I tried to explain this to this Adam cat. I was like, it wants a password. Why is it asking for a password? That's what it wants, a password. No, you can do it without a password. We couldn't do it without a password. How come they ain't giving no password? And the password's a number. And so when I went on to YouTube and seen Latrell doing it, it was plain and simple. Password, you threw that in, and then you just go through the steps, and then on the screen it came up, do you want to use Wi-Fi or don't use Wi-Fi? I don't want to use any Wi-Fi. Everywhere I go, I want it to work. So I hit that button, so now I didn't have to use Wi-Fi. So every time I hit that button, it connects. The only thing is you just got to redo it every time you go to turn it on. You got to go through the steps all over, but that ain't no problem. It came right on. It went right to everything. I was like, dude, it came on, went to everything. Everything showed up on it and everything. But you needed a password the whole time. So I went to call Adam back to tell him, hey, I got it, man, and this is how it happened. And I wanted to tell him, since you worked out all the bugs, why don't you work out this bug? Okay? Tell them to give a password for the damn thing, dude. Tell them to simply give a password. To come up with a password to give everybody so they can just use the password and go straight to using it instead of trying to go around all this bullshit. He didn't pick up. So just because of that, I was like, man, fuck this, man. I'm going to send this back and get my money back. I was like, shit, you ain't making the sale through me now. I'm going to send this back. But until I saw that YouTube thing, that video, then I'm able to work with it now. So I came down here to the unit. And I sat in the car and I just put it on a test tone real low, not to burp it, to see if the numbers would show up and everything, yeah. So I was telling Andy about it. I was like, what's up with your boy, dude? This dude that you put me in touch with, because he's not as smart as I thought he was. Now, he don't need to be talking about me because I'm not a computer geek. I'm not that. I went through the steps just like I was told and all that. Instead of just giving a simple password, he was trying to take it all around and up. And I called Latrell up, and I was telling him about it. He was like, yeah, man, they don't give you no directions or nothing. He's like, what I did is I just start putting random numbers in there until it finally worked. I was like, interesting. He's like, yeah, that's how I did it, man. I just did it like that. And then when I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it started working. And then I saw that he was able to take that same device and plug it into a laptop. And it still works in the laptop. Just that one device works in the laptop as well. I was like, how did you get that to work in your laptop? And you didn't have to buy the box and all these meters and mics or none of that. You just use the same wireless meter and went into your laptop, and it works in that too. And he was like, well, you got a laptop? I was like, no, I sent it back, but if I decide to get one again, I'll call you. You seem to be more help than this guy, and he works for the doggone people. Working out the bugs. Yeah, I worked out the bugs for the company, man, on the meter. They was having problems with it some years ago, and I worked all that out. And then, yeah, well, work this out. If you see this video, work this out. Get them to give a password so everybody can use a certain password to get into it, and then they can go from there. Unbelievable, man. I would just send it back for the hell of sending it back. It ain't like it's going to be no big time money being removed from his doggone pockets. But I'm saying, man, if I'm dealing with a company and I'm having issues with their product, they should know their product. This is what to do. This is what not to do. This is what to do. Like these amplifiers, for example. You know what I mean? One kept going into protect. You know what I mean? And it could have been a sub all along. It could have been doing this, but I had one blow in the competition as well. One went, okay? And I simply got told, hey, man, try running the amps at 15.4. You know, instead of 15.9 to 16 volts. They don't like the high voltage, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go through all the measures. Try doing it like that. They'll be happier, so on and so forth. And so I listen, and that's what I do to see if it's going to work. But they wasn't stuttering and go, do this, do that, wire them like this, turn them upside down, put your butt cheeks on them and start twerking. They didn't go through all of this nonsense. Hey, just simply do this. And that's what I'm doing, man. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd be like, man, y'all don't know nothing about what y'all selling. What am I wasting my money for? And I would turn around and sell them all and then go to another company. You know what I mean? I try to be loyal and I stick with what works. I'm one loyal dude, man. If I start using amps and stuff, I may stay with them for a few years and may move in another direction. If something stronger comes along or something like that, I may do that. But if I stay loyal to a company some 10 years and all of that, man, I expect to be treated as such, man. Don't get to treat me like I'm a dumbass. Or treat me like, well, I made my money already, because I'll just get rid of this shit. I will, and then I'll badmouth your company. Hey, man, you know what I mean? Like, man, fuck them. They suck. Don't use them. You know what I mean? I have a lot of followers, bro. If I'm having problems with something, I say don't buy that. 9 times out of 10, they won't buy it. They be like, for real? Because people be watching my tutorials and they watch me and they watch my progress. If I'm having issues, you better believe they're not going to use that product. And it ain't that I'm the loudest dude in the world. I'm not. I'm just consistent. I'm consistent. You know what I mean? I'm building. They seeing the hard work I'm doing. I'm consistent. I haven't gave up. There's times I thought about quitting. I haven't quit. And even if I stop competing, I'll always be at shows demoing. And I'll get to demo all day. You know what I mean? So I never gave up and quit and be like, man, F this, y'all. I'm done. You know, I'm not doing this no more, man. I'm tired of this. This ain't working and that ain't working. People seen I've been consistent. And I stick with it until I do get it to work. You know what I mean? If I can't get something to work, then I'll move on to something else, man. Y'all get it? Unbelievable, man. So I wanted to shoot this video. Shoot it outside this time instead of always doing them inside the unit. I wanted to shoot this outside. It's nice. I don't go out get me some more bass. You know, I've been driving around this bass and just letting the speakers play, you know, and demoing and giving people demos and testing, and it's pounding and doing all this and that and the other. So I know when it's time to park and pound, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. I don't know what numbers it's going to do, but I know it's going to play. It's going to do that 30-second round at full tilt. You know what I mean? And then I'll think about getting the blasting. You know, I was supposed to get out of burping anyway and just do street beating competitions anyway, is what I was supposed to be doing. Like some years ago, me and one of my teammates had talked about that. So since I did do damn near 64, and my goals was 63, I may stop there to burp, and I may not. Okay, I might get froggish and leap. You know, so, but I'm gonna just hit some street beating. But I do got that meter, so what I may do is I have time to be down here playing around with that meter and hitting it at certain numbers and seeing what it will do, you know, maybe. And, you know, if I'm gonna hurt something, I can hurt it when I'm not at a show. And easily I can just say, hey, I need another amp. Period. Just send me one. And call it a day. Alright? So it's your boy, the OG Soda Pop Kid. We're almost at 28 minutes. I'm out in the sun. It's hard to see the time. I'm going to be done with this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And you guys can, this door, too. I'm having problems with this door sagging, bro. I need to get this to a body guy, somebody that can get these hinges and stuff welded or whatever you got to do to make this door. Because I had it fixed and now it's sagging again. And I got to lift it and it's starting to sag again, bro. I need to get to somebody that can get this door set. I never had problems with the one on the other side ever. Well, it's because you use this one more. Bro, I use that one too, and I never had any issues with it since 2017, bro. Come on, there's got to be a better excuse than that. And this one, man, it's starting to sag again. If it sags, it's going to lay on the floor, and I got to lift it to open it and lift it to close it. And yeah, I know somebody out there can help me with this damn door. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and peace, people.